All right, I'm really kind of tripped out here because the walls behind me match my sweatshirt, and that doesn't seem like is a logical thing to happen. However, I wanted to talk about A Dark Song and the Mossman prophecies today, and how they both unfold along a trajectory of grief. That vector of grief destroys the soul in a very specific way that some of the masters of horror fiction have really um, developed into something that's interesting, um, teachable, and beautiful. Especially A Dark Song, and I think the Mothman Prophecies too got a bad rap. It was like 50-50 split on whether people liked it, and that movie is phenomenal as a piece of horror fiction from my perspective. I think I have a pretty good sense of what horror should do, what it can do, and its power uh, to help people through the most difficult feelings. But it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to go to that place. Some people just want to forget it exists, and that's fine. Horror is a quarantine space where you can work out these issues for yourself. So, A Dark Song and the Mossman Prophecies. In the Mossman Prophecies, the Richard Gere character is mourning the loss of his wife. In A Dark Song, it's a son who was killed by like teenagers in a drunk driving accident, something like that. So it and both well, Richard Gere isn't looking for revenge; he's looking for meaning or an answer to it. Uh, in A Dark Song, the central figure is looking for revenge, and so it becomes this dual trajectory that unfolds throughout the movie, and she has to choose between either forgiveness or revenge, and she works herself into a point where if she intended vengeance, it would be very difficult for her to survive to see it. So ultimately, it becomes a choice between um, vengeance and letting go with A Dark Song. Um, and that's to me that's pretty interesting. I selected when I was talking about it, and this is the first time I've ever done it all in one post. But it seemed like it would be better to try to piece it together through one post as opposed to, you know, several posts. So yeah, I chose "Heaven Beside You" by Alice in Chains. I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins. All My Tears by Anna Brune. And The Blood of the Lamb by performed by Billy Bragg and Wilco. These were interesting choices because they kind of frame A Dark Song in this kind of religious sense, which is what I was looking for with a movie like that. And it's a Dark Song as far as the occult goes. It's pretty solid. I mean, most authors who deal with the occult aren't really getting into the nuts and bolts of the Abramelin ritual or anything really. I try to do it as much as I can, but I don't actually. I won't actually put something into a book that would be unnecessary to drive the plot. So I mean, and I don't think it would be good writing to just focus on a ritual. If you want to focus on a ritual, you should just focus on the ritual. So the fiction is, it's a place to explore the concept, not necessarily create a one by one perfect translation of it. So in response to this, I wrote three poems. One of them I didn't put up, which was weird of me, but here it goes. I'm going to recite the poem now. For us down suddenly, cold iron wheels peacefully, fully without notice, to pretend to complete, prior to avoid, repeating to cure, to return a dark place to an empty one. And then there were two other poems, one called Agresta the Devouring. I like to create these archetypal figures for like certain types of characters. The Yodabund is, yeah, that's definitely a kind of character I created to just kind of infuse certain feelings into. And this other one, the grief demon, or angel if you prefer, I call Agresta the Devouring, a kind of devouring mother that would be built on this character from A Dark Song. And her poem goes something like this. She clings to hatred, the devouring mother, whose ashen eyes feed on grief of nations and souls alike. Devouring mother, save us from this epiphany. Let our dreams be reason enough to fall asleep again. And then I wrote a second poem called The Angel of Time. The Angel of Time. When pinned to a tragedy, remember that love is risk. In life, we wager time. So that is all I have to say about the trajectory of grief in horror. I hope this has been illuminating in its own way for you. I enjoy doing these little videos. They're fun for me, so I'm just going to keep making them regardless of whether or not anybody ever watches them. Thank you for your time.